Good morning and happy Friday. We are going to be wrapping up the unit on right triangle trig. So I just wanted to first go over your homework, then we're going to start reviewing for your test. Okay, so we're going to we've only been having quizzes thus far, but this is a perfect place to actually have a test. And we're going to kind of review special right triangles today, and on Monday and Tuesday, we will kind of work on the review, and then we'll have our test on Wednesday. Okay, so we'll talk more about that in just a second. But I'm going to start by going over the homework. I would say there were a couple of problems that we wanted to talk about. I have them circled here, so I'll talk about them. Number 7 was clearly the most difficult problem. So let me try to talk through this one. Okay, so it says, a ladder is mounted on a fire truck. So the thing is, a lot of our problems that start like this, we're assuming that triangle is sitting on the ground. I think I said that in the video yesterday. But this triangle is not sitting on the ground because it's on the truck. Y'all see my lovely little truck there I drew? I know it's very abstract looking, so y'all just go with me. So anyways, so this triangle is not sitting on the ground. So this triangle is actually sitting, up high, 6 feet off the ground. And the reason is because the truck is basically 6 feet tall. Okay, so we have to take into consideration this 6 feet when we're working our problem. Okay, because it is not sitting on the ground. All right, it says, if the maximum length of the ladder, so does everybody see the ladder is 120 feet here? Sorry, I'm changing color. And the maximum angle to which it can be raised, so to which the angle of the ladder can be raised, is 75 degrees. So my picture's not really drawn to scale. Mine looks more like, 20, 30 degrees. 75 can be more than that. So basically the bigger the angle of elevation, the higher the ladder can go. Okay, so it says how high up will it reach? So our X is basically this height. Okay, we're trying to figure out that. Now, you are not going to get that answer right away. Okay, because the answer that you're going to get is just this X over here, which is from here to here. So my question is, how much is this right here? Well, it's the height of the truck, right? So it's 6 feet. Okay, so when you find your answer, this whole height, you're going to have to do X, whatever you find, and then add your 6 feet. Okay, now I don't think y'all are going to have trouble solving it because a lot of people put this answer right here, which is great. That means you at least understand the process. But just understand we then have to add the 6 feet to it because the whole height is going to be the height of the truck and then our triangle, so we have to add the height of the truck. Okay, so just make sure you understand. I think most of you understood the problem with the trig part. It was just adding that 6 feet back. Okay, most problems will not be like that. We're going to kind of assume that most of the triangles are on the ground like all of the rest of the problems, but just FYI that could be kind of a challenge problem. Okay, so the answer there should be 121.9. I'm not going to talk through 8 through 10, but there are the answers. I would say that some of us need to be careful about rounding. Like this one right here, some of us put 35 degrees, but it's really 36. It was like 35.5, and so the 0.5 makes it round up. Okay. Remember that angle of elevation, even though it says the word elevate, it's because you're looking up. Okay, so angle of elevation is always at the bottom and looking up. Okay. All right, number 11. I'm not really sure where a lot of our misconceptions came in, but let's kind of talk through the things. All right, so it says the parts. It says the length of the shadow. So shadows we're going to always kind of assume are going to be at the bottom, okay, like on the ground. Angle of elevation, I bet that's probably where a lot of our mistake was. And then it says approximate the height of the tree. So that's why X is on the vertical, because remember height is always, straight up and down right here. Okay. So then it's tan, and then you just have to ask yourself, is this multiply or divide? And when X is in the numerator, it's multiply. Okay, and then, some of the problems were rounding. I didn't think that was wrong. I might take off, half a point or something if you don't round correctly, but it was 0.098. So if you think of 0.09 as just 9, the 8 is going to make that 9 bounce up to 10. So that's why that answer's there. And then number 12, a 40-foot observation tower. So that's basically like telling you the height. Okay, so that's why it goes on the vertical. It sights a boat in difficulty. So the boat's like out here. Okay, and the tower or the lighthouse or whatever is here. That's a lighthouse. Okay, it looks like a candle. And so we're trying to figure out, and the angle of depression, I give you that. Remember, it's on the outside, but then you move it to the inside. How far is the boat from the shoreline? I think some of you put X here, but X has to be on the bottom because it's like the boat is in the water out here, and we're trying to figure out how far it is to this point right here, which is where the shore is. Okay, so that's why I put X down at the bottom. Okay, so then that's tangent. And then because 40 isn't, the X is in the denominator, remember D and D denominator divide. So when X is in the denominator, you're going to be dividing. So 40 divided by tan 8. All right, so see if you can make your corrections on those couple of homework problems. There are all the answers again, if you need to see them. And if you need further instruction, just let me know. Okay, send me a message or something. Okay, so moving forward, I want us to talk about the two big topics that are going to be on your test. We're going to have special right triangles. So basically this test is all right triangles. Okay, maybe I should put that. Okay, it's right triangle test. And the first thing we learned was special right triangles, and then we've learned SOHCAHTOA. So those are kind of the two big topics. Today we're going to review, just refresh our memory, the special right triangles, and then on Monday and Tuesday we'll put both of these together. Okay? Today we're just going to do this. So let's refresh our memory on what the formulas are. You guys did really great. We've already had a quiz on this, so if you need to go back and look at the videos or the forms that you've done, a lot of you did really well on that. So we have the 45, 45, 90 triangle. That's the first special right triangle. And then we have the 30, 60, 90 triangle. And in my opinion, the 45, 45, 90 is the best, or not the best, the easiest. And so because it's isosceles, remember, two of the legs are congruent. So that means these are both going to be the same length. And then the hypotenuse is going to be whatever that x is, whatever that leg is, and then you're going to times it by root 2. Okay? So I'll just draw an example. If you have, oh goodness, that is not a good example. If you have one leg that's 5 units, then this one will be 5 as well, and the hypotenuse would be 5 root 2. Okay? Now that's an easy case, but just to give you a refresher. All right, so then with the 30, 60, 90, we always said across from the 30 is where you label the x. That's called your short leg. Okay? Then the hypotenuse is 2 times that length. And then the across from the 60 is the long leg, which is x root 3. Okay, so let's draw a little example to kind of refresh your memory. All right, so if this is my 30 degrees and this is like, let's use 5 again. If this is 5, then we're going to do 2 times 5 here, which will give me 10. So this is my x. This is my 2x, so I'm going to do 2 times that amount. And then this is x root 3, so I'm going to plug in the x, so 5 root 3. Okay? You need to make sure you have these formulas memorized. This, 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 and this. Okay? Or you don't really have to have them memorized. You're doing online learning, so you can use your notes. Okay? And you guys, I guess I should have said this now, but that's why I'm requiring, in order to get a point for like quizzes and tests, that you make it 85. That's a pretty high standard, but the reason I'm holding it so high, in class, if you made an 80 or a 78 on a hard test, like I'd be pretty happy with that for the most part. But the reason I'm holding you to an 85 or higher is because you get to use your notes, okay? Instead of just like saying passing. All right, so here are your formulas. Now this is like one of those cut and paste things we've done before. So if you want to cut and paste them, you certainly can, but I'm just going to ask you to do A through H only. I think that's enough practice of all kinds, 30, 60, 90, and 45, 45, 90. I'm going to do A. Let me pick one that's not. Yeah, I'll do A with you. So I guess I shouldn't say A through H. I should say B through H. Okay. And just to kind of refresh your memory. So all I'm going to ask you for is tell me what X is and tell me what Y is. You can also find your answers like here, around these things if you want to look for them, but you certainly don't have to, but it might be helpful if you can see your answers. Okay, so let's do A as a refresher, and then I think we'll be okay, because A is a little funky compared to what we've done before. All right, so I'm going to label. Remember, labeling the sides is always like the best way to start. So I'm going to label these. My 30 would go here, and so this one would get labeled X. This one would get labeled 2x, and this one would get labeled x root 3. And do you remember I would ask myself, did I give you x? If I did give you x, you would just plug it in, and it's quite easy. If I don't give you x, you need to write an equation. So I did not give you x here, so you need to write an equation. So the equation would look like x root 3 equals root 21. Okay, those are equal, and then we're solving for x. So if we want to get x alone, we need to divide by root 3. And the reason that this one is a little weird or funky is because we haven't really done a lot like this, but when you have a root divided by a root, you actually can divide those. So 3 actually does go into 21, and it goes in there 7 times, but it's not whole number 7 because both of these were roots. So that's your answer. Okay, so that means your x side, this side is root 7, and then we're going to plug that in here. So 2 times root 7 will just look like that. Okay, now I don't think any of the other ones will give you trouble like that, so I don't think that should be difficult. I'm not going to do a 45-45 because I feel like I just did, they're pretty straightforward. So like D, I'm giving you x, so you just plug in. Now G, down here, I do not give you x, so you have to set this equal to x root 2. Okay? So I think y'all can remember how to do that. If not, let me know. I will work through these for your video on Monday if you need a little assistance. So just shoot me a message if you feel like you need a little more help. But I'm going to make a form for B through H, and then the X and the Y of each. Just be careful that the X doesn't always mean the X side, it's just like asking you for X. So I would always label it like I did on A. All right, well, good luck, and I hope y'all have a nice weekend, and we'll get back in touch on Monday when it's time to kind of review some more. Awesome. I miss you guys.